All right, you want to build wheel cribs, but what's the size? It's not one size fits all. Okay, you need to measure your tires. So let's measure and I'll show you how I do it. All right, so how you measure is you put a piece of 2x4 on each side, chalked against the tire, and you measure outside dimensions. Okay, so I'm at 23. So that's how wide I gotta go. Now, if you want to do it another way, you can do the same thing, or you can just eye it. You measure this way, and 12 inches would be good. 12 would work for me. Remember, you want that crib to be wider and in both directions than the tire itself, okay? Because what you're doing is you're duplicating the surface that it's resting on, okay? Because when I'll show you later, you're not sitting on the chocks. You're sitting on the level part. I'll explain it more as we go. All right, keep in mind that you're building these specially for your vehicle. Now, if you have more than one vehicle and they're different measurements, instead of making different cribs, make the biggest one. So if one of your tires is maybe 2 inches bigger than the rest, follow that size. And the reason why you make it bigger, it's easier to make it smaller to adjust than the other way around. Now, before we keep going with that, let me explain to you what the crib is actually doing, okay? Now, your wheel is sitting on the ground, okay? The center, if you look at the circumference of the tire, it's the center part that hits the ground, not the edges. So a lot of people make that mistake that they think the tire has to sink in here and rest on the two chocks. You're not resting the tire on the chocks. You're resting the tire on the flat surface, which is a mirrored duplicate of the floor. So whatever it's sitting here, it's sitting here. That's why the last layer, you want to put 3 across, so the tire is sitting on it, okay? These here are just going against it. You don't want the tire sitting on this, okay? Then all the weight is going to be on the ends. You want it in the middle. That's where the weight goes, okay? And then you put these to chock the wheel so it doesn't roll. Now, you got the biggest size. If you have another car that's smaller, say the wheel comes this way, then you make up little spacers. For an example, this is not I'm going to use this, but just to make you understand, you could put a spacer in there which extends the chock so it fits that tire, okay? Then you can mark these. Say this is for the Honda, this is for the Toyota, and you keep it with your cribs on the side. This one especially made for the biggest one, which is my Mercedes Sprinter. All right, now this centerpiece, you have it on the last one and you have it on the first one, okay? In between what I did, I supported the center with an extra piece. The reason why you wanted to have that extra piece in between, because it's a longer span. You want it to be supportive, right? And even in between, the next layer, I put a little piece in between. You could do it this way, and you could keep going and save that space if you like, but I feel a little bit more secure if I add this little piece in between, so that all the way through, from the bottom all the way to the top, that middle piece is solid, okay? The ends, you don't have to do too much. You could leave the empty spaces, because like I mentioned, you're not putting weight on this end. And even if you did a little bit, this short span is most likely not gonna, bend as easily as the long stretch. That's why you have that extra piece underneath here to hold that. So that's the main thing I want to explain. You need the last piece on top, okay, to be fully covered. You don't want it like this. You don't want the wheel to sit in here. You want it to sit something flat, okay? If you think putting the wheel in between is gonna make you feel better, fine, you could do that too. But then you're gonna have to put another one here underneath, so it's sitting on those 3 below. As long as it has something solid to sit on, okay? But this is the way I'm doing it. 3 on top, with the supports in the middle, all the way through, all the weight is there. Then you have the 2 chocks on each side, all right? And then you got a filler if you have to adapt to a different tire. Now you can use screws, you can use nails. I'm gonna use structural screws, okay? The reason why I'm using structural screws is because it's stronger. It has a bigger head on it, right? It has a bigger head on it, and it's self-tapping, so I don't have to pre-drill, right? So you're gonna spend a little bit more money, but do it right. You know, make sure safety is your priority when you do this. I haven't screwed mine together yet. It's a little bit more lumber involved. It might be a little bit heavier, but I think it's worth it. Okay, now I gotta build 2 more of these and put it together. This was approximately 10 8-footers that I used. I'm gonna have to get another 10. Remember, your measurements, your size will tell you how much material you need. If you use pressure treated wood, you can use it for outside, which is nice. It'll last longer. But if you get pine, a good thing to do is to stain it, or you can use used engine oil, which some people use, to seal it so it'll last longer. All right, if there's any opinions, any suggestions, any tips that you can share with everybody else, please do so. I hope this helps you to figure out how you should build your tire, wheel, cribs. Thanks for watching. Another thing to keep in mind is once you build this, are you able to lift your car high enough to put that underneath? This is about 13.5 inches. I don't think I could lift it, because once you lift the vehicle from the frame, the wheel sags down. So there's got to be a way to put it on here. So I'm gonna actually watch some YouTube videos how they do it. So keep that in mind. You don't want to make it too high, because if you can't put it on, what's the use of it? All right, good luck.